like to welcome everybody tonight. This is the workshop meeting, January. It's actually the third meeting of January with Susquehanna Township Board of Commissioners. I would note that all commissioners are here with the exception of Commissioner Engel, who is excused. I would also note that the board did meet in executive session to discuss matters of real estate and personnel. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. And I would ask that the pledge be led by our departing manager, Mr. David Kratzer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Yes. Okay, we'll start out with public comment. Does anybody wish to address the board tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll get into the approval of minutes. We'll take these one by one. The December 9th, 2021 minutes. Mr. Hesserow?
I will move approval of those minutes. Second.
Okay, did you have any changes that you wanted to make?
January 1.
Okay,
Last one.
all right. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. January 3rd, reorganization meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Move to approve. Seconded by Commissioner Rothrock. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And January 13th, 2022.
Mr. President, I would like to move on that one as well, subject to noting two corrections that are necessary on page 5 and 6. At the bottom of the page on 5, zoning hearing board, and at the top of page 6, under property maintenance, my name is misspelled in both cases for the seconding of the motions in those, for those boards. So I would ask that that be corrected. Otherwise, I'd like to move for approval.
Okay. Motion and a second to move for approval with those corrections noted. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. On to presentations. Public Safety Director, Chief Robert Martin.
No? There you go. Oh, you'll know it when you can hear it. It's pretty hot. I think you're turning up a different microphone.
Try the wireless. Oh, you know what? I was turning up the wrong one. Sorry.
Yeah, when it's feeding back and you can't hear them.
Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, you got me. Okay. Let me ask Corporal Rich Wilson to come on up. Chief, do you need help? I'm good. I'm good. Corp, I want you to hold your award before I present it to you. Okay. Thank you. I want to talk about you. Members of the board and staff, we do have 2 Officer of the Year awards. There's one that's presented by the Rotary Club. There's also an internal department that's actually in honor of Sergeant James Nelson, former officer from our department who grew up in the township, graduated from the high school, and unfortunately passed away on duty over a decade ago. But I want to tell you a little bit about Corporal Wilson and why he is so deserving of this award for 2021. First of all, Corporal Wilson is a 20-year veteran of our police department, and well before we hired him, over 20 years ago, he was an intern with our police department that Corp and I just talked about recently because he rode with me when I was a patrol officer. So that was a long time ago. You were in college and I was a young guy. In addition to being a leader on the department as a corporal, and during 2021, I had placed Corporal Wilson in command of our Community Technical Services Unit, which actually encapsulates a lot of things: traffic safety, the traffic studies that come before you, the school resource officer, community policing details, and quite frankly, anything else that I throw at them in terms of special projects. So it's, if you're the leader of that unit, it's a great opportunity to kind of get out of your comfort zone from just regular patrol, but you're also being pulled back to patrol a lot when manning requires that. So, during 2021, in addition to commanding the ComTech unit, there was many times he was the patrol supervisor, or he was working a beat, and he was doing anything that was needed by the police department. But in addition to that, here are the other adjunct assignments that Corporal Wilson serves our community and the greater community of Dauphin County. He's on the Dauphin County Fire Investigation Team. He is one of our evidence technicians. He is a taser and less lethal instructor for our department. He's a field training officer, and currently he's the officer in charge of our warrant detail. So that, he takes on a lot more responsibilities than he has to, and that's out of his commitment to this township, our police department, and quite frankly, just the citizens at large. When we talk about leadership, first and foremost, the most important ingredient is always leading by example. So, as I've talked to you through the years about our 5-tool process, I want to share some statistics from 2021 that, in addition to everything else Corporal Wilson did, he made sure to lead by example on the 5 tools. 50 Vigilant Protector acts through the year, 105 honorable endeavors. And honorable endeavor is when they actively, when they're on patrol, when they see children out, they have to take an opportunity to stop the car, get out, interact, and everything gets documented. 105, 198 foot patrol assignments. He handled 819 calls himself as a corporal, as a leader. He wrote 114 written warnings and 90 traffic citations. So he covered the gamut of the 5 tools of what's expected of our officers, but he did it as a leader, as a corporal. And that's why he stands out for this award tonight. So it gives me great pleasure to announce to you and everyone and to his family that Corporal Rich Wilson is the recipient of the 2021 Officer of the Year Award. He asked not really to have to say much, but we're gonna put him on the spot a little bit. So, Corp, here you go.
Chief, Commissioners, I really appreciate this opportunity. Just to let you understand, for the last 20 years, I always come to work every day to try to live up to the example that the Chief set for us. Thank you.
Congratulations, Corporal, and thank you for all you've done. And this is your family, I assume? All right. Bet you're all proud. You should be. Thank you. All right. All right, next up on the agenda is a very pleasant task, and that is the consideration of appointment of Elizabeth Logan as interim township manager and secretary. Been moved by Commissioner Fleming and seconded by Commissioner Hisserell. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? This would be effective February 1 of 2020.
That is correct.
I want to congratulate you, Betsy. Thank you. Yeah, it's as Dave can tell you and many others can tell you, it's interesting being a township manager. And yes, it is interim, but it doesn't mean the issues coming to you and the questions flying at you and all the interesting things that you deal with, as well as the pleasures, are just as intense and just as pleasurable. So, and you've got a lot of people in your corner, all of us here on the board, obviously, great staff, and you'll do well. And yes, while it is interim until Mr. Probolka arrives on March 1st, it doesn't mean it's any less demanding. So we thank you for stepping into the breach. And parenthetically, you are the first female to manage Susquehanna Township in the history of this township. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, appointment of Alicia Knoll as Susquehanna Township's alternate delegate to the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee. And just to put these in a couple of context, these are positions that Dave had taken on and that now need to be dispersed among various members of the staff. So Alicia will be our alternate delegate to the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee. Is there a motion to that effect?
So,
It's been moved by somebody and seconded by somebody else.
did you do that with all?
I think it was you two.
Okay.
He's much taller.
Yeah, okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is appointment of Jill Lovett as the Chief Administrative Officer of the Susquehanna Township Pension Plans.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Pine,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner
Yes, sir.
Ezra. Okay. All right, any discussion or comment? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And this one hurts, Betsy, but appointment of Elizabeth Logan as the Right-to-Know Law Officer for Susquehanna Township. Moved by Commissioner Filona. Seconded by Commissioner Fleming. Discussion?
Sorry.
Yeah. What do you have against Betsy? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, and I don't know if you want to get involved in this, Mr. Solicitor, but this is to schedule a public hearing for intermunicipal liquor license for Beijing Chinese restaurant, 47 North Purvis Avenue. We need to set it for Thursday, February 10th, and I would recommend that we coincide it to start with the start of our 6:30 p.m. meeting.
So we'll set that for 6:30.
6:30? And can you give us any background on it? Is there anything to be had at this point?
I don't have anything right
That's
now,
fine.
but I will provide notice to everyone.
Very good, thank you. So do we need a motion for that?
It doesn't hurt to have the motion, let's do the motion, please.
Is there a motion to set the hearing? Moved by Commissioner Pine.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Rothrock. And that again is for Thursday, February 10th at 6:30 p.m. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Traffic studies. Chief, need this?
Okay, the first one is Ward 6, Bonneview Road. A request was made to assess the potential speeding issue on Bonneview Road. Just to give you a sense of where Bonneview is, it runs east off of Wood Street to essentially Darby Road. So it's on the far southeast side of the township there. Some of the concerns and the complaints were that there may be vehicles using Bonneview to avoid Schoolhouse Lane because of speed humps. So we set our ATS speed display machine up. Majority of speeds were recorded lower than the speed limit, but the recommendations are to install 25 mile per hour speed limit signs 200 feet east and west from the intersection of Bonneview Road and Darby Road, and Bonneview Road and Vernon Avenue, and Bonneview Road and Wood Street. So I can get with Highway Department and see that that's done. I don't believe it needs an ordinance because it's already 25. We're just adding some signs for notification. And then in spring, summer, we could look at painting slow 25 mile per hour on the street In the interim, over the past several weeks, I did detail cars up there to monitor the speed and enforce the speed, and there really wasn't any, need for enforcement yet, and the officers did have an opportunity to interact with some of the citizens. So we're showing presence up there, and we'll continue to do that. So that's all on that one. The second one, Officer Darcy did a great job on this one. Request was made to review the area of 3900 block and North 6th Street due to concerns of school bus violations, specifically request was for the consideration of autistic child sign. That did not meet any requirements. However, the child is, so there is some things that would allow itself for a vision impaired child sign, which are cautionary signs. So our recommendation is to put one on the east side facing northbound traffic at 3929 North 6, and one on the west side at 3944, and this complies with PennDOT parameters. Again, they're cautionary signs. It does not need an ordinance. That's all I have. Okay?
I'd like to ask Chief Martin a question, if I may.
Yes.
On the second one, North 6th Street,
Yes.
in reading the materials, I didn't notice that there was any kind of surveillance done where maybe you have a non-marked vehicle, checking to see if checking to see if there were actually cars passing school buses.
School buses.
Because when I read that really troubled me.
Yeah.
And there's certain kinds of traffic violations that bother me more than others, and that one would be towards the top of the list. And if that is the case, besides doing the signs, which I totally agree with, the best way to nip that would be to catch a few of those and, make it known that we're watching for that.
Yes. No, I agree, Commissioner. I actually think we did do some monitoring down there that was part of doing the study, but I can continue to get units down there. Definitely. I'll make that part of it.
Chief, I have one.
Yes.
I guess it was several weeks back, maybe at the end of last year, a resident of Roberts Valley Road had forwarded some concerns about the traffic, I guess, flying down Roberts Valley Road. I know they had requests for speed bumps, which I know wouldn't fly, no pun intended, on Roberts Valley Road. But is there anything you can look at there, maybe as far as signage or markings or anything, or just check out what the situation is?
Absolutely.
If they are speeding?
Yes, and we can get our ATS machine out there.
Okay.
We can actually put it out there for like a week, and it'll monitor all the speeds and give us all the data.
Thank you,
So,
they'd appreciate that.
Yep, I'll get that going.
All right.
And while I have you, Commissioner, the continuing issues with oversized trucks through Montrose.
Yes.
We've got officers out there. We're actually investigating a couple complaints from this week, and we've scheduled a detail with the state police. They call MIXAP. They're commercial vehicle inspection team. They're going to come out with us on 2 days in February to enforce in that area.
Oh, wow.
To send a message.
That's fantastic. The residents will really appreciate that.
So they should see some activity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Chief, just a quick question on the... Quick question, Chief, on the second traffic study you discussed. So in reading the materials, have they come to a consensus on what the sign will say? Will it just say impaired child?
Vision impaired.
Or
vision impaired child.
Vision impaired.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Because
Yes.
I know the request is not an approved sign.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
But we were able to get something there that I think we'll have some notification.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I'll work on all this. Thank you.
While we're on traffic studies, does anybody, workshop is the time to discuss these. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring to the chief's attention? Okay.
It's not a traffic. It's not a traffic study per se, but I just wanted to ask, I know, Mr. Grubik, for years, we've had the issue of the light at Farm Green and Lingelstown, where it's one of very few along 39 that's not, where there's no arrow. And so I just wondered what the progress was there, if there's continued work that needs to be done.
There is, it's ongoing work, Commissioner, and what's happening, we have made applications, this is a, this doesn't have,
I got you.
Doug's in control of this one. He warned Alex and I before the meeting there was a hot mic, so I had to be careful.
Turn the volume down to help him out.
But anyway, we have the application in for PennDOT and awaiting response from them. Any modification to a traffic signal timing or any modification, geometric improvements or anything like to an existing intersection that has a signal needs to have the permit updated, and that's what we're waiting for now, but we'll keep you posted. Yes, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Before you put that mic down, can I ask a follow-up question on that, Bob? In regards to traffic lights, and maybe there's a process or maybe there's not, but at the intersection of Union Deposit Road and Progress, is there any chance of a blinking yellow arrow? I've seen those in other parts of the county. And it seems to me that's an intersection, one of actually several I can think of on Union Deposit, but that particular seems like, especially northbound on Progress Avenue, would be an appropriate blinking yellow arrow opportunity. Is that something we could study?
Progress to westbound Union Deposit. Yes. Yeah. That again we'd have to go to PennDOT, but in order to do that, we would have to do some traffic counts there to determine whether the warrants would be met for that yellow. But I know exactly what you're talking about, Commissioner. We'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just Bob, while we're talking about traffic signals, any update as it relates to the HOP permit or improvements associated with Susquehanna Union Green?
There were two highway occupancy permits that were pending. One has been issued, and the one at Garrison and Progress has been issued. And there's another one for the intersection. There's a right turn lane on Paxton Church Road, from westbound Paxton Church Road to northbound Lingelstown Road. That is in process right now, and the developer wanted to wait until both of those were issued until he had the contractor notified to proceed.
Thank you.
Can you repeat that? Westbound Paxton Church.
Westbound.
Westbound Paxton Church, in front of there's a church at the northeast corner. So it would be westbound Paxton Church to northbound Lingelstown Road. There will be a dedicated right-hand turn lane installed there as part of the Union Green project.
Yeah.
I think you need North Progress, right? Where not
It's westbound Paxton Church. The turning move, the lane would be from traffic that would be going westbound on Paxton Church to turning northbound on Progress Avenue.
Progress Avenue. Is there room there? I seem to recall.
Well, there's room, but there's a significant amount of fill that's going to have to be placed there because it is somewhat of a ravine. But that was part of the traffic study that was done and recommended and approved by PennDOT, and it will also alleviate some of the existing issues there as the traffic increases from additional traffic from Straywinds Farm and also from the Maplewood development that's under construction.
I'm a little confused. The extra lane would be on Progress, right?
No, it'd be on Paxton Church.
Road?
Yeah, it would be along the frontage of the actual church at the corner, Commissioner.
Yeah, that's probably where I live. Yeah,
Okay. And if you're on Paxton Church going west towards Progress, if you look to the right, there's somewhat of a ravine in there that will be filled up, and obviously paved and curved alongside there to be able to get the traffic in a more evenly flow through that intersection once the development is done.
Oh, I see. It would be like an extra lane to allow for rights.
Correct.
And then the middle lane and a left.
And a left turn, yeah. It would be a dedicated right-hand
Dedicated
turn
right
lane.
And then the improvements to the intersection of Progress and Lingelstown, those dedicated left movements, but I guess an additional dedicated left turning lane, right?
Yes.
From
That's part of the, that's part of the
Garrison
highway
feature?
occupancy permit that includes the signal at Garrison.
Okay.
Question for Mr. Are there any improvements going to be offered? Do you foresee any in the future for Elmerton Avenue, going east from Interstate Drive? Any guy rail end treatments heading towards Veterans Park? And then once you pass Veterans Park, past the Game Commission, I understand they're doing, improvements there. We're having some building going on, but there's a lot of places along that road on Elmerton, on the westbound side where it needs, let me get my bearings, eastbound side, I'm sorry, where it needs guide rail treatments. They're doing a lot of work out there now, or they just finished up some of the stormwater treatments, but you can, if you follow, I use that road a lot, if you follow individuals, they're always braking all the way down the hill because it goes real narrow, and there's certain places where it definitely needs guide rail. But is there anything you foresee in the future?
Of course, Elmerton is a state highway.
That's correct.
And we're not aware of any type of improvements that are required. We have been trying to work with PennDOT to be able to encourage them as development occurs along the Elmerton corridor. There will be some improvements to Elmerton with the new enclave at Elmerton development that's under construction right now. They started the grading last week.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
But if there's anything that comes up from PennDOT, we'll certainly keep you posted.
I appreciate it, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if we need, do we need to do a motion on the 2 traffic studies for approval of the signs? If we do, I would make the motion.
Okay, they're not required for an ordinance, so.
No? Okay.
We're good. Thank you, Bill. Be handled administratively. All right. Moving on to item M. 2020 boards and committees, commission appointments. Under the Recreation Advisory Committee, we have a vacancy in Ward 2 and another one in Ward 9.
Mr. President, can I make a motion to appoint for the 9th Ward, Tanya Ward, to the Susquehanna Township Rec Committee, please?
Absolutely. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Fleming. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. President?
Yes.
I have a nominee for the second ward position on the RAC. And I'd like to tell you a little about him because when I got talking to him about his relevant experience, I was kind of overwhelmed. His name is Alan Doherty. He's been a township president for 25 years. He has been active in Susquehanna youth sports for many years. He has coached soccer, softball, basketball, and he's coached baseball for 9 years. He's on the Baseball Association board, or he was for 5 years, including a stint as managing the concession stand, which is hazardous duty all by itself. Currently, he is the Baseball Association teener coordinator and fall ball coordinator for all 3 leagues. Plus, he's coaching basketball, his son's basketball team at St. Margaret Mary's. So obviously, he's a parent very involved in his kids' sports activity, and I think is going to bring a really strong perspective to the RAC. So I'm very pleased to nominate Alan Doherty to serve on the RAC, and I guess I make a motion to appoint him.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Sounds like a busy guy, Gary.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Just very quickly, excellent choice. My son played baseball for years, and Mr. Doherty was really involved in to the extent that one can, really sort of professionalize the concession stands, like had the operation really running smoothly in terms of, you know, cooking, following safety protocols. So he did an exceptional job with that. Alan's a great choice.
Very good. We're lucky to get him, I think.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That takes care of our rec advisory board. On the health board, we received notice that Dr. Bronstein, a longtime member, contributor to the township and member of the health board in particular, is stepping down. And he's done a great service for the township, and can't say enough about his dedication. So try to fill that at our next meeting. And if anybody has any candidates, please let me know. I do have one candidate. I talked to him last year. His name is Justin Wardell. He lives in the mighty 3rd Ward. And he happens to be a physical therapist, and he's a healthcare professional. He's not a doctor, not a nurse, but a physical therapist. And he has a lot of gumption. He also was a wrestling coach or a wrestler in high school and college, and he's now a referee, wrestling referee. He's just a real dynamo. And if we have other candidates, let's consider them. But I'm going to check and see if he's interested, and I'll come back at our next meeting. And if it's the will of the board, then I'd like to get him on. So anyway, for what that's worth. Next, finally, is our Human Relations Commission. And we have a couple of vacancies, and there's one that I think Mr. Pine would like to, one nomination Commissioner Pine would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Stan Lawson to the Human Relations Commission.
All right, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Hisarell. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Does anybody, just for the heck of it, have any other candidates for the other vacancies? I believe we have 2 others, don't we?
I may. Let me speak with somebody, Mr. President. I may have someone who's interested.
Okay. And we'll address it at one of our meetings in February. That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner comments. Do we have any? Who wants to comment? All right, I will. This is Dave's last meeting, and it's hard to believe that it's been 6 years, but I really feel fortunate. I told this story many times, but when I met with Dave after we agreed to hire him, I said, you got to guarantee us 5 years. Got to go. So after the first year, I said 4 to go. After the second year, 3 to go. And once you know, he gave us 6. And it's been a great 6 years. I applaud your leadership, your innovation, your spirit, your ability to attract, energize, and grow a staff, a professional staff of municipal employees. That's hard to do. And having worked in both the public and private sectors myself, I know you'll enjoy this next chapter, and you position yourself well in terms of what you've been able to accomplish in Susquehanna Township, but also Penn Township and your other municipal experience to move forward. And so thank you, Dave, and you will be missed.
Just quickly, Mr. President, members of the board, thank you so much for this opportunity to serve this community. This is just a phenomenal community, blessed with great elected officials. As the President mentioned, a great professional staff working on its behalf, and just a group of citizen volunteers and general citizens as well that are engaged in local government, that may have different perspectives at times on different issues, but express those different perspectives in just a respectful and professional way. So it's been a pleasure to serve with you and for you over the course of these 6 years. And I look forward to continuing to hopefully have an opportunity to work with each of you in perhaps the new capacity that I'll be working. So thank you very much.
That's when I ordered you up a plaque on behalf of all of us. So maybe after the meeting concludes, we can all gum it up and yuck it up for the cameras. This plaque is presented to David W. Kratzer Jr. in recognition of 6 years of service as Township Manager for Susquehanna Township. And if you'll notice, the new logo.
The new logo, yeah.
The one that looks like a test tube.
Test tube, yeah.
It's right on here, so that's one of your proudest achievements, I know. So congratulations, and if we can pose for a picture after this, it's kind of awkward otherwise.
That would be wonderful.
Unless anybody has any ideas. Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to? Yes, Justin.
Just briefly, Mr. President, to add to that, because Mr. Kratzer and I are similar in age, I guess. Commissioner Robarczyk and
Commissioner Fleming is slightly older.
For the record. He loves that.
I'm sorry, did I say I wanted to continue to work with you in some capacity?
Kiss that goodbye, buddy. No. Commissioner Robarczyk and I are the last members of the board who were on the search committee. The current members, the only current members on the board who were on the search committee, when we sort of had the opportunity to take a first cut and present, kind of we received 30 plus applications, I think, when Mr. Myers was retiring. And, we were charged, along with our colleagues, Commissioner Schubert and Commissioner Johnson at the time, to kind of whittle down the list and put a first cut before the board. And I know just in my experience going through the resumes, when I saw Mr. Kratzer's resume, qualifications jumped off the page, hoping that we could get someone that talented. And it turns out that we did, and it was a wonderful 6 years. So thank you so much for like I said, your competence, your confidence, and really moving this township forward in a meaningful way. I don't think we could have done that with anybody else. You're a progressive thinker. You think about ways to save taxpayers money, ways to improve operations and efficiency. So just thank you for everything you contributed to us over 6 years, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Dave, I just want to say thank you too. And one of the things that really sticks out to me, everything you've done, is your vision. It's pretty remarkable the amount of progress we've made in the township since you joined us. Like too many things to list, but you really had great vision, and you brought us into this century. You really had to have a lot of heavy lifting to do when you started, and what you accomplished was extraordinary. And I think you've left your mark on the township really in a fantastic way. So thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Dave, congratulations again on your new position. It's off. Okay. Thank you for being responsive as a new member of this body. I really enjoyed working with you, however briefly that was, and I'm impressed by your responsiveness, by your candor. So good luck with your next adventure. But I'm really glad that I at least was able to work with you for quite a bit before you move on.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner.
Anybody else want to blow smoke before we go?
Yeah, I figured there would have to be something from the Villanova guy. Right? There had to be something. There had to be something.
One of the best St. Joe guys I've ever met. That includes my uncle, just FYI. No, Mr. President, I really think that we, I have to echo the other members of the board, and we were blessed to have somebody who's not only up to the latest laws and municipal management, but somebody who's just an overall good guy, and we thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
All right. Sir,
Sir.
when's your last day? You still owe me employee evaluation. I was thinking of something, how can we roast this guy? But he's so perfect,
Unfortunately, Mr. Vice President, I have personal days on Friday and Monday.
It's a virtual world. You can work from home.
It is. I can work from home.
Chief can attest, nobody bats 1,000, but you've batted a good 990.
Well, I appreciate that. Exactly. Barry Bonds can't get in the Hall of Fame, right? So.
Well, I'm sure Fred would say something if he were here, but since he's not, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that, sir.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Fleming, seconded by Commissioner Napper. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's get a picture with you and this plaque.